All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rise Zion. We are pleased to have Ryan Shanahan back in our virtual studio again. He has more stories to share with us from World War II about Latter-day Saints who made a disproportionate impact on the world. And it's such a very fascinating theme, Ryan. You wrote this entire book called The Saints Who Made America. Is that correct?
The Saints Who Built America.
The Saints Who Built America. Sorry. And it's really just a fascinating look into how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have had a disproportionate impact in creating world history. And it truly is fascinating. And, you know, as we look at these prophecies that have to do with war, we look at these prophecies that have to do with the end of times. We're supposed to see these things coming about. It seems to me that Latter-day Saints might have some sort of a future role in fulfilling prophecy in the way that we would like it to be fulfilled. And hopefully it's good rather than, you know, all negative. But yeah, you have some stories to share with us today, Ryan, from back in the past, and maybe we can apply this to the future. And I love that concept because the last story that you told us was about, can you remind me of his name again? Sorry.
Yes, it was on Hillmuth Hubner, a German Latter-day Saint.
I have a hard time with names. Hillmuth? Hillmuth Hubert.
Yeah.
If I said that correctly.
Yeah.
In any case, he was a Latter-day Saint who, I mean, it's just a perfect case study of using free speech. Well, they didn't have free speech, of course, but it's just a perfect example of protesting in a way that is peaceful, in using the power of the pen, using the power of expression in order to bring truth to the Nazi regime because they were Germans, right? But today you have a different story to tell that might have similar stories or might have similar themes and similar lessons that we can take away from this. So Ryan, I'm just going to let you kind of introduce this topic, introduce this story and the characters and why this is so important to us today.
Certainly, and it's a pleasure. These stories, they're so rich, and I think they're so worth remembering, not just because they're Latter-day Saints, but because of their impact or how they've contributed to the world. Excuse me. And in that note, let's see here. Now, in that note, I actually, with my studies for the book, I did research into several U.S. wars, including everything from the Spanish-American War in the late 1800s. That was the first U.S. war that Latter-day Saints were actively connected to. All the way up to the Korean War. And so there's lots of great stories in all of these different eras where Latter-day Saints have made a substantial contribution to the efforts and to America's interests and the benefit of mankind. And this is just one of those stories. So we're going to talk about Captain Mervyn S. Bennion. And some of you might be familiar with him because he was actually featured in the Pearl Harbor movie. And he's one of the 5 Latter-day Saints in World War II who received the Medal of Honor.
Awesome. Okay. Interesting.
Well, we'll get into it. So then Captain Bennion, well, he commanded the USS battleship West Virginia, stationed in Oahu, Hawaii, at Pearl Harbor, of course. In a biographical sketch, Mervyn Sharp Bennion, one of the Lord's noblemen, as he was called, Howard Bennion details the final hours of Captain Bennion's life. So this was from a biography put together by Captain Bennion's brother, Howard.
Oh, I see.
He goes on to detail, a few minutes before 8 a.m., Mervyn was in his cabin shaving, preparing to leave the ship to go to Sunday school and fast and testimony meeting in Honolulu, when a sailor on watch from the bridge nearby dashed in to report a Japanese air attack approached at hand. Howard went on to explain, quote, Mervyn instantly gave the command, go to your battle stations. Then he ran to his own. The conning tower on the flag bridge. In a minute, Japanese torpedo planes flew in close from the outside, letting go 3 torpedoes that struck the West Virginia in rapid succession, tearing a great hole in the exposed side. Almost simultaneously, Japanese bombers flew overhead, barely clearing the masts, and hit the West Virginia once in the region already damaged by the aerial torpedoes, and once a deadly blow in the magazine. Fortunately, that bomb did not explode. Otherwise, the ship would have been blown up, as was the Arizona, immediately astern of the West Virginia.
So let me just get a clear picture of what happened. So somebody fired into the magazine of the ship? Like, how does that?
One of the turrets of the ship, right? So it creates this big explosion, and they have a lot of ammunition down there. So if that bomb had exploded, it would have
ignited
blown
all of the
charges.
different ammunitions. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So all you World War II history buffs are probably going crazy about this right now. But this is just a direct quote from Captain Bennion's brother's biography that he put out there for his brother. He says, he continues, to survey the damage, Captain Bennion stepped out of the door at the rear of the conning tower. He had scarcely taken 2 steps when he was hit by a splinter bomb, evidently dropped from a high level and exploding on a turret of the battleship Tennessee alongside the West Virginia. This splinter tore off the top of his stomach, and apparently a fragment hit his spine and his left hip. He lost the use of his legs. He continues, a pharmacist's mate put a simple dressing on the wound and tried to ease the pain. Lying on the deck, Captain Bennion refused to be evacuated and continued to give orders and instructions to his well-trained crew. The ship brought down 20 to 30 enemy planes, despite being so damaged. Captain Bennion and a seaman were the only crew members on the ship who died. He talked only of the ship and the men, how the fight was going, what guns were out of action, how to get them in operation again, casualties in the gun crews and how to replace them, who was wounded, what care the wounded were receiving, and provisions for evacuation from the ship. The fate of the ship, the number of enemy planes shot down, the danger of fire from burning oil drifting around the West Virginia, from the exploded Arizona, satisfaction over the handling of the ship, satisfaction with the effectiveness of the gun crews in shooting down attacking planes, and satisfaction with the conduct under fire of officers and men on the ship, so on and on. He's mortally wounded at this point, and I think he knows it. And he continues to stay at his post, and give direction and check on the situation, check on his crew, the injured, making sure everybody's getting exactly what they need. It's inspiring. It's amazing. Any questions?
So far? Well, that sounds very good. So like he just to review at the beginning, just in case we missed something, I might have missed something. So he was what was his rank in the military? Like he's a leader, it sounds like, of some sort.
He's a captain.
He's a captain.
He's captain of the ship.
And that makes total sense because he's there guiding and directing the people on the ship as he's still mortally wounded. So that's very remarkable.
I'll finish off here with the story about the outcome and its impact. The courage of Captain Bennion has been remembered. His character was portrayed by actor Peter Firth in the 2001 film Pearl Harbor. And President Franklin D. Roosevelt posthumously awarded Captain Bennion the Medal of Honor. Admiral David Foote Sellers later wrote to Bennion's widow, his complete forgetfulness of self and devotion to duty to the last has given us a memory and set an example that will forever serve as an inspiration in years to come to the officers and men of the United States Navy. Movies and books have long depicted the heroism of well-known service members from the record of World War II veterans. But although the battles ended 80 years ago, some of these stories, they're barely remembered, and some are only still just now coming to life long after the fact. But these are stories worth remembering and sharing, and knowing the capacity in us for good and for honor, for duty, and the capacity that each of us has within us to serve beyond the capacity that we think is possible.
That's a very good point. I like that because of the fact that in many ways, if we're talking about Latter-day Saints being a sort of a light on the hill, right? We have to become leaders. Well, some of us have to become leaders. I'm not going to say that everybody has to be a leader, but you can be a leader in a different way, even if you don't think that you can be. And I think that that's very important because the whole world just is in desperate need of some direction right now, it feels like. And I think that we can play a role in that in some ways. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that specifically?
Very much in line. I do have some personal thoughts to share on this. I think about myself where I am today. I'll be 42 this November, and how the last decade or even 15 years or 20 years have played out. I feel like I've become such a very different person. And that's the natural way of life, right? We grow, we change, we develop, we gain new ideas, we gain new understanding. What I see about the church itself in this role is we're all growing, right? And that's what the gospel message is. It's progression. And the hope is eternal progression. And this life is a proving ground, a testing ground, a sampling of what's to come, right? It's preparing us for what's to come. So any growth that we attain unto in this life is going to give us an advantage in the life to come, says Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
And I believe that's very much so. And I see this progression in my own life, and I reflect back on how much the church has been involved in making that a reality. Like you said, you don't have to be a leader. There's a capacity for everyone to improve wherever you are. It doesn't matter what position you are in life. And I think that's a key message in the gospel of Jesus Christ that we read throughout the New Testament, that he doesn't care who you are or where you come from or what your status is. All of it is acceptable as you come to him and repent, which is to change, right? To be open to growth, to becoming more than you are. So if you are more tomorrow than you were yesterday, you have succeeded in an aspect of the gospel message. And it's a wonderful thing. And we want to champion that, accept that, and encourage that. And that's what the church organization and community is all about and what it's for.
Yeah, I love that. Some of the scriptures that come to my mind quite frequently as I've done this channel, especially the topics that we've been discussing, are the scriptures that talk about becoming an heir with Jesus Christ, a joint heir with him, and being a steward of everything basically that he's giving to us. And, I've said this before, but a steward is not like a janitor, right? A steward is somebody who has the same powers as the king, who is the king's agent on earth. And it's just, that's a very powerful thing. And learning to do these things, learning to be a great leader is one of those things that we can do. But in order to help build the kingdom, we do have to continually progress, as you're saying. We have to, and for some people, maybe their stewardship is just taking care of their family. And I think that is definitely legitimate. I don't think that everybody has to go out and do this huge grandiose thing, but I think that for a lot of people is just taking care of their family and doing that and becoming a leader within the family that they need to be in order to steer them through the last days, spiritually safe.
And if I could, building on that, a big part of that growth or serving where you're at is learning to bear our burdens gracefully, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the key to growth. as you accept your role, whatever that is, if it's just caring for your family, for example, and you put your heart into that, and you accept that responsibility or whatever burden it may be, and not think badly on it, but feel a sense of honor in it. That itself is honorable, because you're learning to bear whatever it is the cards have been dealt to you are. You're taking them with full purpose of heart. And it actually kind of gets into the next story that I hope to share with you guys one other time.
Awesome.
There was about a soldier who didn't get the assignment that he wanted, and yet, seeing that there was no option for him to pursue that, he dove in full heart and purpose into the role that he was given, and it impacted thousands of lives as a result.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with this story, this current one, before we head out?
Well, I think it wraps up pretty nice. I'll leave it as it is.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Before you go, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to consider becoming a member to the channel if you haven't already. And you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out Ryan's book, The Saints Who Built America. Make sure to check out his podcast, which is, tell me again, Ryan.
Yep. It's all about your faith.
All about your faith. That's right. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.